Good afternoon, everyone. This is Julia from the Garden of Eden. And today we're going to talk about how to start a chicken farm. So, before you can start it, though, you have to plan it. No builder is just going to go throw a house up. He's got to plan it, he's got to make estimates, he's got to write everything out. And that's what you need to do before you start investing in chickens. It's so easy to go over to Tractor Supply or Rural King and see these cute little babies, and you just want to buy them up and bring them home and stick them in a box. I read about a lady who bought her a little chicken, and she brought it home and set it in her kitchen floor, and let her little baby child play with it all day long. And that evening it died, and she crying couldn't figure out why the baby chicken died, because she didn't do her research. And that's what you have to do before you start raising chickens. You have to do a little research. Now, when Rick and I were in Haiti during 2013 and through those years, we were studying how to start chickens. We named our chicken farm Garden of Feeding. Back in 2013, we didn't even have one chicken, but we started studying, and we went to backyardchicken.com. And we did what you're doing by watching these videos. We began to watch videos on YouTube. And also, we went to the library and checked out books. There's a really good resource called Raising Chickens by a Stories Guide to Raising Chickens. Got that? Stories Guide to Raising Chickens. That's an excellent resource. And there's lots of other really excellent resources at the library, so you need to study. But start out and write yourself a business plan and decide what your goals are, and then look at the financial part of it, because one bag of chicken feed is $20. Usually the bags come in 50 pounds, and if you just raise a few little chickens, you'll be all right. That's around $200 a year in chicken feed that you would need if you had 5 chickens. Rick and I started raising chickens to supplement our income as we are growing older. And you can do the same thing, or you can have some extra college money if you're a college student. You have extra money for your family. If you live in Haiti, you can raise chickens. I can show you how to do it, but you need to plan it out before you start. And one of the things you got to realize is that a chicken will eat a half a cup of feed every day, and somebody's got to pay for that feed. Now, if you free range them and you have a healthy, fertile field there, you're going to be all right. So, one of the things you really want to do is you want to plan it out. Now, I wrote down for myself how much feed my little chickens are going to eat every day, and I multiplied it out and figured out exactly how much money it's going to cost me. I can't do that for you. You've got to do it. You've got to sit down with a pencil and a paper and decide this is how much it's going to cost. Most bags of feed are up to $20 right now. $20 for a bag of feed. And then you multiply that. Now remember this formula, that 2 cups equals 1 pound. So when you get 50 pounds, you got to realize that 2 dry cups of feed equals 1 pound of feed. And that's how your 50 pounds works out. Now, another thing you got to think about besides feed is you're going to have to buy some clothing that you can wear outside. You're going to need boots or shoes. Or I'm in Florida. I wear flip-flops, but I can't wear them right now because it's getting chilly up here in north central Florida. So you've got to have shoes that when you go out there to fill up those waterers, your feet are going to get wet. Your shoes are going to get wet. You're going to walk around and muck. There's chicken droppings all around your yard, and you're going to be stepping in them. So you need to protect your feet. You're going to need work clothes. I go through sometimes 3-4 shirts a day. So you're going to need some old clothes to wear. Now here's another thing you're going to need. Gloves. If you don't, you're going to tear your hands all to pieces on chicken wire. When you pick up a chicken, it doesn't know. It's got long, long toenails that will scratch you. And they don't mean it, but they do it. They accidentally will scratch you. You scratch yourself all over your wires and things that you're working with, and you want to protect your hands. Now, here's another thing. Uh, it would be really good to wear safety glasses because many times I've been out there mucking the uh, coops, and sometimes dust will fly right into my eyes. Hay, straw, different things. So you really need to have safety glasses. Now, some people do biosecurity. I don't do biosecurity here, where you have to cover your whole body in clothing that you take off as soon as you step outside the coop. I don't do that. But there are some people that really work hard to keep everything pristine, and that's what you should do. You've got to work at keeping these coops clean and airy. Now, when you bring baby chicks home from the Rural King or wherever you ordered them from, you're going to need a little brooder. You're going to need a heat lamp, a thermometer. You're going to need some kind of medium to go inside the coop, which is like pine, large pine shavings. Those are the best for little babies. They tell you not to use the tubs. Some of the hatcheries say don't ever use these plastic tubs. I use plastic tubs that are very large. I buy the largest ones I can. When when I brought home my babies, I still have them. I put a hole in each side of them and put a stick in it and made them a roost. And I've done that for 2 years, and they've all been pretty well, except that you cannot let babies' feet slide on a tub's plastic because that will kill that baby. A baby chick will get splay foot, and I'll explain that to you later. So feed cost, you've got to think about the cost of the brooder that you're going to create. And then once they get to be over 6 weeks old and you want to put them outside, you've got to have a medium brooder. You can't just throw them in a coop. You've got to have a medium-sized brooder. They don't know how to roost yet. So they don't roost sometimes for several months. And so you have to put a little box in there for them to sleep in at night. You've got to make sure they're nice and warm in your little coop or your barn or wherever you have them. And then you gradually move them up to the adult size coop. So these are expenses you've got to have. Also, when you get ready to start your farm and you want to plan for a business, the first thing you got to do is go get your fictitious name. And you go to the newspaper and tell them that you want to place a fictitious name ad, and you declare what you're going to call your business. Then you can go and get your FEIN number from the government. You go online and get it. Look up FEIN number. It's sort of like a social security number, but you got to have it. And the reason you got to have it is because when you need to get a loan from your bank and you say, I want to start a bank account for my hobby farm or for my business, they want that FEIN number before they give you a loan. And they can give you a loan for you to build your coop, a beautiful coop. But you got to have that FEIN number. You got to have heat lamps. Red. Some people use them. I use red. I use white. I use whatever it takes and keep it the right temperature. We'll talk about that later. And so expenses are something that you really need to think about. Now, I bought myself a cute notebook, and I record everything. I record the day I bring the chicks home. I record the condition they're in. I record when they start laying their first eggs. I record all my expenses. Everything I have written down and keep very good records, and that's what you need to do. And then last of all, do you have the time to spend on these chickens, and do you have a babysitter in case you get sick to watch over them for you? These are things that you've got to think about. Are you able to get up every single morning, rain or shine, and go out there and feed the chickens? Are you able to muck out the coops? Do you have the rakes, and do you have a pitchfork that you can use to muck out the coop? Things you got to remember and think about. A lot of other materials we'll go over. God bless you, and think about this before you start. Plan it out.